Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is February 18th, 2024, and today we're going to discuss the aftermath of Barcelona's victory over Celta Vigo 1-2 and Robert Lewandowski's new incredible milestone. Also, after many weeks of discussion and many names being linked to Barcelona, we finally have two finalists, two candidates that could replace Xavi Hernandez as Barcelona's manager, and I'm going to tell you exactly who they are. We have a lot to discuss. So let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and before we begin with the news, just a quick reminder to make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. All of this helps this channel continue to grow. Also, if you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the gift bag. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure you head to Bet Us. Both links for gift bag and Bet Us are down below in the description. Now, begin with the news that Barcelona defeated Celta Vigo 1-2 with 2 goals of Robert Lewandowski. And I did a post-match live analysis yesterday as soon as the match ended. So if you do want to hear my thoughts and opinions about that match and about the team's performance, make sure to check out that video. Now, after the match, Xavi Hernandez gave the customary post-match press conference where he discussed a myriad of things, but overall where he shocked everybody in attendance with his statements when he said, "Today we competed much better than we did against Granada. We played well without suffering in defense, but we did not create enough chances. We did not do well in the final third. According to big data, we should be in first place, considering the amount of chances we create on average. We got penalized by our defensive mistakes yet again." Mamma mia. I don't even know where to begin. Because Xavi Hernandez says that we played well, but then he goes and makes a crazy statement by saying that Barcelona should be first according to big data. Now, I don't know if Xavi Hernandez is living in a parallel universe. I don't know if he's watching different matches than the ones that we're watching. But A, Barcelona did not play well. They had yet another poor performance against the 4th worst team in La Liga, where Barcelona had to depend on a penalty kick in the final moments to pull a victory. And we do not deserve to be first in La Liga because we have been playing poorly the entire season. But see, this is where the problem lies, because if Xavi thinks that we played well and he thinks that we played well in every match, this is how I know that things are never going to improve. Because for things to improve, you first must admit that there's something wrong. Then you have to figure out what that thing is, what's going wrong. And then you have to find a solution to what's going wrong. But you cannot fix something that's wrong if you don't even realize that there's something wrong. Because according to Xavi, the team is playing well and they should be first. So according to him, there's nothing wrong with the team. So if there's nothing wrong with the team, then there's nothing to improve. And that's how I know that the team is simply not going to improve. And this is worrisome because this stretch of La Liga that we're finalizing is the easy stretch of La Liga. It's the stretch of La Liga where we've had much weaker opponents that we should have easily beaten, such as Alaves, Osasuna, Granada, Celta Vigo, Villarreal. But instead, we drop points. And that's worrisome because the next stretch of La Liga, that's where the difficult part begins. Because we have to play against Athletic Club de Bilbao in San Mamés, against Atlético de Madrid in Wanda Metropolitana, against Real Madrid at Bernabeu, and against Girona in Montilivi. And given how the team is playing right now, given the fact that Xavi Hernandez doesn't think that there's anything wrong with it, Barcelona could easily lose those 4 matches. And if Barcelona does, that means that Atlético de Madrid and Athletic Club de Bilbao could take away the 2 remaining Champions League spots, leaving us out of the Champions League. And as I've said many times before, not qualifying to the Champions League is not only a sporting disaster, it would be a financial disaster because that's money that the club desperately needs. So not only is the club's image now at risk, but the club's survival is at risk because Xavi is incapable of doing self-reflection and self-analysis and realize that there's a problem with the team's performance. But that wasn't the only shocking statements that Xavi Hernandez did. He also said or bragged about how he thought that his decision to resign was the correct one because the team has reacted positively, obtaining 10 out of 12 points in the last 4 matches. And to that I say, well, number one, the team has not reacted well. The team is playing just as poorly as before. You know, we drew against Granada, the second worst team in La Liga. We barely pulled a victory against Celta Vigo, the fourth worst team in La Liga. But even if the team was performing well, even if the team had reacted well, that's not something to brag about. You shouldn't be bragging about the team performing well because you announce your resignation. The team should have been performing well since day one. Not wait until the point till you resign for the team to start performing well. So by bragging about this, you're admitting that you are the problem. And this is where I constantly say the Barcelona communication department should have trained Xavi for these press conferences, because these press conferences keep getting crazier and crazier. And I don't know how the club can allow Xavi to continue make a mockery of himself and the institution as a whole in these press conferences. Now, setting Xavi Hernandez's statements aside, let's move on to more positive news, because with Robert Lewandowski's 2 goals yesterday against Celta Vigo, he has officially reached 50 goals in 79 matches, and that's an incredible milestone, especially when you compare it to previous players. Now let's look at the chart of previous players who have reached 50 goals, starting with Luis Suarez and Samuel Eto'o, who took them 68 matches to score 50 goals. And there he is, Robert Lewandowski, in 3rd place, ahead of the likes of Ronaldinho, who took him 108 matches to score 50 goals. Lionel Messi, who took him 117 matches to score 50 goals. And there's David Villa, who took him 120 matches to score 49 goals. He didn't even reach the 50-goal mark. And then there's Thierry Henry, who scored 48 goals in 121 matches, so not even reaching the 50-goal mark. And that's what makes this an absolute amazing milestone, because Robert Lewandowski reaching a 50-goal mark better than some of the biggest legends in the history of Barcelona, faster than Messi, than Ronaldinho, than Thierry Henry, and even David Villa, 2 players who didn't even reach the 50-goal mark. And that goes to all the people who spend all their energy day after day, week after week, insulting Lewandowski, saying that he's garbage, that he's old, that he's finished, that we should sell him, saying that I'm biased because I defend him. Well, there you go. The numbers speak for themselves. Robert Lewandowski reaching 50 goals faster than our greatest player, Lionel Messi, and faster than some of the biggest Barca legends, such as David Villa, Thierry Henry, and even Ronaldinho himself. Now we will end today's video with the news that after many weeks of speculation and many names being linked to Barcelona, the club have finally narrowed down the list of candidates to replace Xavi Hernandez down to 2 names, which are Hansi Flick and Roberto De Zerbi. Now, in the case of Hansi Flick, he's the name that gathers up or that generates the most consensus within the club, because number one, he is a coach from the German school of thought, and as I've said many times before, Joan Laporta has been a huge fan of the German school of thought. He talked about it a lot during his candidacy. He always wanted a German coach to lead Barcelona. The second reason is because Hansi Flick has managed big teams such as Bayern Munich and the German national team, so the club think that he will be able to withstand the pressure, the demands of the job of being a Barcelona coach. Plus, they know that he could handle a locker room full of stars, such as the one at Bayern Munich. And third, because of Hansi Flick's experience at the big stage and accomplishment, where he's only one of 2 coaches in the entire history of football to have in one sextuple. Now, when you add to all of that the fact that Hansi Flick is not working right now, that makes things easier, because of course, you don't have to worry about paying a release clause. You don't have to worry about the coach convincing the coach to quit his current job. Hansi Flick simply does not have a current job, so all you have to do is make him an offer and hope that he accepts it. Now, what's the problem with hiring Hansi Flick? Well, there's the problem that the fact that Bayern Munich are considering sacking Tuchel and going after Flick. And there's also the problem that there are plenty of clubs in the Premier League who would also love to have the services of Hansi Flick. So Barcelona are going to have to compete with all these clubs and try to convince Hansi to pick Barcelona over the other clubs. Now, the second name is Roberto De Zerbi, Another name that's been linked with Barcelona since Xavi Hernandez announced his resignation. And he's someone that has impressed a lot in Barcelona because, first of all, he's a coach who's very tactically sound or tactically gifted. He's a coach that likes to play, beautiful offensive football. He's someone who can adapt his tactics to each different opponent, and even when playing against the opponent, he can adapt to his tactics as the match goes by, adapting to different situations and different scenarios. And the number two reason why De Zerbi has impressed in Barcelona is because his gift and talent to nurture and develop young talent. And that's something that Barcelona desperately need, because right now we have an entire generation of incredibly talented La Masia players like Lamine Yamal, Cubarsí, Héctor Ford, Mika Faye, Pau Prim, etc., who Barcelona wants someone who can mold these youngsters and turn them into winners. And not only do we have this young generation of upcoming players, we also have a young generation on the first team already, players like Gavi, like Fermin, like even Araujo himself, who are still pretty young and still have plenty to learn. So Barcelona have always been in the search for a coach that can mold and develop this young talent, and De Zerbi is currently doing a great job of that at Brighton. Now, what's the problem with hiring De Zerbi? Well, first of all, there's his 10 million euro release clause that he has at Brighton, which Barcelona would have to pay. And then there's, of course, the problem of his salary, where he's currently receiving an incredibly high salary in the Premier League. So Barcelona, of course, going to have to either match it or maybe offer something close. That would be the obstacles in Barcelona's face. Now, as always, I would love to hear from you guys. Who do you think should be Barcelona's next manager? Should it be Hansi Flick? Should it be Roberto De Zerbi? Let me know down below. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I would like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below, giving me all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that I share with you. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. And as always, Viscarsa.